Oh, we don't need no fancy words. I mean, we need to practice. We need to rehearse.
I'll tell you what we need. We need some paying gigs. We don't need this messing around, first one patio and then another, and that's ridiculous. We don't got no goddamn band. We don't need fucking practice with you.
Hello and welcome to the NOGD Band Podcast. I'm Chris, and as you may have noticed, there's no Henry tonight. It's just me. I'm taping the intro by myself. We had very special circumstances come up this week that changed things a little bit. We do have a full episode, so stick around for that. Regular episode with both me and Henry. But the intro is going to be a little bit different tonight because we were very fortunate to have the chance to interview Mr. Tommy STINSON, the bass player of The Replacements. One of mine and Henry's favorite bands of all time. I think one of the 10 best American bands of all time. Definitely one of the 10 best indie bands of all time. But we got the opportunity to do that through Josh Robbins here in town, who is in a band called Late Bloomer, a great Charlotte band, who's also going to be on the program in April. He's also runs a little label here in Charlotte called Self-Aware Records. And his drummer is the owner of Lunchbox Records, which is a record store, a great record store here in Charlotte. They are going to be hosting Tommy STINSON and Chip Roberts. They're going by the name Cowboys in the Campfire, but they're going on a little tour playing record stores around the country. And they're playing in Charlotte this Wednesday night, March 7th at 7 p.m. So to promote that show, we were given the chance to do a phone interview. I want to thank Josh for allowing us to do that and hooking us up last minute. I was out of town at the time that this had to go down, so Henry had to handle it by himself. I think he did a great job. Thanks, Henry, for doing that, especially since this is, one, his first phone interview for the podcast, and two, he's pretty much interviewing one of his top 5 heroes of all time. So I'm sure there was a bit of nerves there, but Henry handled it great and did a great job. So you'll hear that first coming up, and then afterwards there's just going to be the regular episode the rest of the way, so stick around for that. Before the interview, I'm going to just play a quick song. I'm going to play my favorite Replacement song. For those of you out there who maybe haven't been exposed to Replacements, I can't imagine that's the case, but if it is, I'm going to play the song I Will Dare and go straight into Henry's interview with Tommy STINSON. Again, the show is at Lunchbox Records this Wednesday, March 7th at 7 p.m., and this is I Will Dare by The Replacements.
My advice. Are you excited about coming down south?
Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons behind being excited about it. I'll tell you that.
Tell me about that.
I just sold my house, and I am
sold the house?
officially homeless. I sold my house. I'm basically now homeless.
Now you're living in New York, right?
Yeah, I live in upstate New York in a place called Hudson, New York, and I like it up there a whole lot, but I had to sell my house because I wanted to get onto a quieter street. I had a studio in my house, and the street that I lived on got so noisy with truck traffic suddenly that I had to sell it. And it's been on sale for a while. So I finally sold it. I moved all my shit out this last month, and now I'm homeless. And so I'm looking forward to my, sort of paid vacation.
Paid like for a month. Like you've got like 16 dates coming up.
Yeah.
In March, and so I guess, are you totally doing this sort of like Jamaica style, like the Minutemen on the road?
It's me and my Uncle Chip, or my buddy Chip, I should say. Not really my uncle by blood necessarily, but he is sort of my Uncle Chip by marriage and divorce. Him and I in a van and some guitars, and we're doing these sort of intimate shows where, it's either a house party or a record store or a restaurant or a brewery, things like that, just to make it more intimate, make it sort of a, more interesting experience for us and for the people that, come. And because we're trying to build this Cowboys in the Campfire, brand, as they say.
Yeah.
And we thought, because we thought it was just the two of us, let's start small, get people into it, play some interesting, weirder gigs, and then, build it up from there and put out a record. So when we get home from this little run, we're gonna put the final touches on a single that'll come out this summer.
Is it different for you playing bass or playing for a smaller group than it is like playing bass for the cheap seats and a bigger place?
I kind of, I do my thing no matter how I do it, whatever it is. And I was telling someone this the other day that I like to do what I can to keep what I do interesting. So whether I'm playing in Bash and Pop or I'm playing, Cowboys in the Campfire, or if it's the replace, whatever, I like to change things up. I have a sort of a short attention span. So it's good for me to, to have different things to do. These things are the Cowboys in the Campfire and Bash and Pop are probably going to be my mainstays for a good while, because I'm seeding both of them, equally, and they both are good for me and both are enjoyable. So I get two different things I'm doing.
You strike me as a guy that sort of has to stay on the move a lot. Would that be right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like when the old days, when in probably the late 80s, early 90s, really all you had of a guy was like you could pick up the record and I could see you on the cover of Let It Be and all of that, and maybe catch a brief snippet of you in the video, but you really don't get an understanding of like maybe the kind of guy you are, or what you talk like, or how you move around in the world. But thanks to the internet and all of that, like we can sort of see that now. It's almost like more transparent, but it sort of takes away some of the mystery in a way, don't you think?
Well, it does to a
like a trade-off.
But I think it's a good trade, because I think that in a lot of ways the whole mystique of the rock star and the fucking star of this or the fucking movie star that, all that kind of crap, I think it perpetuates an untenable image. And I think because we all change and we all grow and all these different things, I think it creates sort of a, kind of a false read in a way. And I think that these days people want to feel more, people want to know who's singing this song to them. They want to know that more. They're not, I don't think, I get the feeling in general that I think people want to know a little more about, who's singing the song to them and who's, what their deal is more, and I think that's a totally good thing.
Yeah. I know that I have a daughter too. You have two daughters, I think.
Yeah.
Daughter's 12. So I'm
there
thinking,
you go, right in the...
like you. Well, I'm thinking you must be dealing with some of the same stuff I might be too. With like,
oh yeah.
What's it like? I mean, do you ever wonder what's it like to grow up in a world where like every record you've ever heard of is available, like at your fingertips?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly fucking how I feel about that. I'll tell you because I just fucking sold my entire CD and record collection to a friend of mine that's got a record store.
You did not really. So you got. I
did. I got rid of all of it because I'm moving, and I thought, why would I keep all this extra CDs? And I didn't really, and I kept the vinyl that I knew I wanted to keep. I'm like, why would I keep all this stuff when I can just fucking pull it up on my fucking computer or my iPhone? It's just extra stuff at this point.
You're right, I know, but then it's like I keep thinking to myself, it's sort of a part of my history. Like so I put it up in the attic, but I'm thinking, if I move again, it's just extra weight that I'm carrying around.
Dude, that's fucking the whole goddamn thing, man. I had probably 1,000 fucking CDs and I didn't have much of a vinyl collection because my kids, my littlest one, Tallulah, I mean, they started playing Legos on the turntable, so I had to, that didn't work out so well for me to have a turntable. But I was kind of going, why am I going to lug this shit around? And I hate to say that because I do also like I can't read books online. I got to have a tactile book to read. I like that feeling of having a piece of physical stuff on. And I do like having, I do also like having, a tactile record and a CD. But what I realized recently is like, most of what I listen to when I listen to music, I'm listening onto my computer, my big computer, which I record on and things like this with really nice speakers and all this stuff. And I realized it doesn't have a fucking CD drive in it.
Nope.
So I gotta do all this extra stuff to bounce it down so I can listen on this and that and the other thing. And I just never kind of get around to it. I just pull the song up on the fucking internet and like, okay, there it is. I listen to it. Cool. That was that.
Just as good.
Yeah, and it's just the way the world is changing. I think the only thing I'm missing out on, and I'm going to get into this again at some point, is that vinyl has made a big comeback, and I love. I've got a good amount of fucking real vinyl records that I like, that Terry Reid and things like this that mean something to me. At some point, I'll probably get back into getting a nice fucking stereo and listen to vinyl again.
My friend Chris, who's like the partner with me on this little podcast we're doing, is he has vinyl, all over the place. And my daughter, she there's some value in it to her for whatever reason. She likes having vinyl records, even though she has Spotify and everything else at her fingertips.
Well, and that's a great thing. That just happened. That just happened recently, though, where people are kind of going, wow, these vinyl records, they actually sound a lot better, and there's a tactile, like I said, a tactile thing to it,
Yes, I think
it's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm. It's like part of a larger rebellion, I think, trying to pull away from these electronic things and finding stuff that seems real, and that has relevance.
And I'm all into that. I think it's a fucking fantastic thing. I remember. I remember the reason why it's sort of a little bit of a bittersweet thing with the vinyl thing is that the last Replacements record, Warner Brothers decided that they were going to only make CDs of, and our whole fan base was still buying vinyl. And it was like Don't Tell a Soul was the last vinyl record they made for us, or that we made for them, I should say. And
they did not put All Shut Down on vinyl. I didn't know that.
No, it came out in European. It came out on German vinyl, which sounded fucking incredible. But the bit rates for fucking digital media at that point was fucking terrible, and the fucking CD players were like $500. So you were fucking just any fan that wanted to buy our fucking new record either had to buy the fucking German import or buy the fucking the CD, and then hopefully I had a CD player. We got so screwed on that. And I completely feel like we got fucked on that. And so many other artists probably as well, because Warner Brothers and other labels were going, yeah, we're done with the vinyl. We got this new technology coming out and blah, blah. But the reality is the bit rates in that for digital media, then the CD because I had to get a CD player. I got one, and I also had the German import of that record, and I've A-B'd and beat them through the same fucking stereo. Fuck, it was. I mean, the sound quality was so fucking vastly different and so shitty on the CD side. The fucking German fucking vinyl import just sounded just beautiful, and like, you know, all the audio sounds that you'd hear, the guitars, acoustics, all the stuff that I remember making the record with sounded great. And then fucking I got the CD that everyone's getting that's the mass fucking media right now. Really? Thanks. Because it sucked. It sounded terrible originally. They've since remastered it and all that stuff, but fuck, it was fucking horrible. And to be in that position where it's like, okay, this was going to be our make and break record kind of thing, if you will. We just got fucked out of the gate, you know.
Story of your life, right?
Yeah, totally. Oh, kidding me?
Well, tell me about Chip Robert. I know that he played on. I think it's a Bash and Pop song or two.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. He's been my good buddy for like 10, almost 11 years now, probably. And I met him because my ex-wife. He's my ex-wife's uncle. And, And I finished a One Man Mutiny record in his house in his basement with him. Was it that record he was on that I'm thinking of, and not okay? Oh no, he's on both. He's on the Bash Pop record as well. And so when I bought my house in Hudson, New York, and went up there and started making that thing, him and I were writing together, and have been for a long time. Hence, since we're touring as fucking cowboys in the campfire finally. But it was, he's been my good buddy, but he's also been one of my writing partners for 11 years.
Where does the Sippy come from? Is that just a nickname?
Well, it's fucking, we're hanging out and getting in the cups a little bit.
I got it.
Sippy.
So I'm thinking, in my mind's eye, I'm thinking of you guys driving down the road with your probably acoustic guitars and stuff. And he's selling rub at the shows, right? Like,
yeah,
meat rub.
Oh, yeah. It's a blend of spices that, because he was a master chef and has opened restaurants and stuff like this. He made a blend that it's all purpose blend kind of thing that you can basically put it on anything. It'll taste infinitely better. You can put it on your cornflakes if you want. It'll fucking make them taste better. It's that kind of thing.
So I mean, playing record. I mean, you might be making the last pass of these record stores. I don't know if they're dying out or coming back. I see you're playing.
I think they're. I tell you what, man. I think they're coming back. I think that I've seen this going down for the last 15 years in a particular way, where record stores are kind of going out, and then now people are starting to buy vinyl again, and in a kind of not even a nostalgic way, more that they just liked it. Like you said, it's just like a funny thing. People like vinyl now again, and it's made a major comeback. I think there's more record stores coming out now. We've been playing a bunch of them, and newer record stores, and some places that have been open forever, but newer ones that are doing great.
So when's the Cowboys record coming out? When are you doing that?
Well, when we get back off this road trip here, I was just talking to Tip at the bar about this, actually. When we get off this road trip here, we're going to put the final touches on the little group of songs that we got to make either a single or an EP to put out probably by summer. And then we'll do 3 months later, we'll put out another one. And just kind of start building on that, and then we'll follow that up with probably a full length.
Well, man, I have
vinyl only.
Well, man, I have to tell you, I never thought in a million years that I'd actually be able to get you on the phone and have a conversation with you about this kind of stuff, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. I'll say this: it's going to sound really fanboy and shit, but I'm going to say it anyway. The work that you did as a young person with the records that you put out made me feel more comfortable being weird, and it had meaning and relevance.
That's fantastic. I love that as a closing note. I love that.